Let's test out the Antank 6-in-1 gaming dock for the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck. I'm going to be testing this dock out with Battlefield 2042. I'm also going to compare the performance when my ROG Ally is plugged into this dock versus when my Ally is plugged into its charger. But first, let's go over its features and I'll give you some tips along the way. What I actually really like about this dock is that it's very short on the back. You can see here it's only like 1.25 inches tall. Or if you use centimeters, it's like 3.25 centimeters tall. And that's significant because you can travel with this and it's very small. You can see if I compare this with another dock that I have, this one on the right is a lot taller, so it takes up more space in your bag. Another advantage that might give you is that when the Ally is docked, there's lots of room for my fans and my vents, whereas other docks out there might start to interfere with that a little bit. I mean, in this case it's pretty minimal, but I just want to include it in case there's anyone else out there that's having any issues with their docks blocking anything back here. But this dock is made of really lightweight plastic, so it has like a cheap feel. However, that might be an advantage if you're traveling again because it's a lot less weight to take with you. I also like the sleek 90-degree connection with this because the official ROG Ally dock has a cable that sticks straight up out of the top. There's a rubber strip in here for your Ally or your Steam Deck, and on the bottom there's a couple of rubber grips for whatever surface it's on. And it has really good grip. If I give this like a push test, you can see some movement, right? But the dock's not moving. That's my actual table that's moving. So it has really good grip. My Ally sits pretty straight up in this. It's not 90 degrees, but there's definitely a lot of docks out there that rest your Ally at a way steeper angle. I feel like at this angle, it'd be fine to lay on a table and watch videos on this or use a Bluetooth controller. On the back, you get a 1000 megabytes per second gigabit Ethernet port for wired internet, but some people do prefer to play wireless, so I will test if the wireless internet will work while I'm docked in this video. There's 3 USB 3.0 ports, and a good thing about this is that if you want to take the SD card out of your Ally, you can just use an adapter to plug into USB so that you're not running your SD card hot. And you can also plug in USB externals like an external hard drive, keyboard and mouse, a joystick. There's a HDMI 2.0 out port rated up to 4K at 60 Hz. When I'm testing this on Battlefield 2042 later in this video, it'll be on a 1080p TV, but I will give you tips on how to achieve 4K at 60 Hz. The USB-C port supports up to 100 watts, so it makes this dock universal. Just make sure to use the official power supply that came with your gaming device. And before we get into testing, I'll mention that Antank sent me this dock for review, and if you want 10% off, use my discount code BATPIXEL. And I have a bunch of other products for the Steam Deck and the Ally, so definitely check them out. I'll have their links down below. First, I'm going to test the wattage. So this is my Ally's official charger, which I'm going to plug directly into my Ally, and then I'll plug it into the dock and plug the dock into the Ally and see if I get the same wattage. Right now I'm on battery and manual mode, and you can see that my normal wattage is maxed out at 25 watts. And for the boosts, it's 30 watts and 35 watts. Let's plug my Ally's charger in and see what our max wattage is. You can see now that we're plugged in, we're getting 30 max wattage, and our boosts are 43 watts and 53 watts. I have my Ally's charger plugged into the dock now, so let's plug the dock in and see if we get that same wattage. So you can see with the dock plugged in, I'm still getting the max 30 watts, and then for my boosts, it's still at 43 and 53. And if you just bought your Ally, make sure you do all the software updates if you're having any issues with docks in general. But using the charger plugged straight in turbo mode works really well for me. I can see here my frames per second are around 55, 56, so that's really good for Battlefield 2042. I set my GPU to 6 gigabytes on the ROG Ally for Battlefield, and it seems to work the best for me. I won't really get too much into the details about my setup because all the games you play are all going to be different and variable, so it really depends on what you're playing. So I got Battlefield set up so it's at least outputting 1080p. All my other settings are low. I am on wireless internet, which I will test when I'm in docked mode as well, but this seems to be working great. So I'm in my living room and I'm playing on Wi-Fi, and you can see that I have that unplugged right there. I have the game set at 1080p, but if I were to set the game to 720p, I would get more frames per second. So it's pretty close to 60 at 1080p, which is pretty good. I just plugged in my internet's Ethernet cord, and yeah, everything's working fine. I'm still getting 50-something frames per second with the game set at 1080. Like I said, if the game was 720, I could get more. So it's a pretty solid performing little dock. That's the Antank dock. That's a blown up tank. If you have a 4K TV or monitor and you want to achieve that at 60 Hz, they actually do include a little card that gives you some tips on that. Make sure that you're using a HDMI cable that's 2.0 or 2.1 and it's shorter than 15 feet in length, and that you're manually set at 4K 60 Hz output in desktop mode. Within the game itself, make sure that the game's outputting 4K at 60 Hz as well. And don't try to achieve this using your battery. Make sure that you're fully plugged in so that you get max wattage. The only thing I'd recommend with this dock is these gaming devices use micro SD cards, so there should be a slot for that, rather than using an adapter. And some people might not like that light plastic design, but overall this dock performed very well. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe, and make sure to check out my other gaming product reviews.